Okay, hello and welcome to the Primal Impulse's second class. This is Pet Play 101, version 1.0. Hello. Yay, woohoo.
Hello.
Um, Written and presented by me, TakuVR, for Primal Impulse. So basically, does anyone here have, by raise of hands, or whatever you have, emotes if you don't have hands, how many of you have experience with pet play already? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, quite a bit. That's cool. Half and half there. Mindy's on the fence.
It's like the most common kink in VR.
It is one of the most common kinks in VR,
I have
for
no
sure.
clue what this is.
Okay, so let me give a quick introduction. BDSM pet play is a form of role playing in which one participant takes on the role of a pet, such as a dog, cat, pony, any other animal, fox, pigeon, apparently. While the other participant takes on the role of the pet's owner or trainer. This can involve the use of costumes, collars, leashes, and other props to create a sense of being an animal, and also include physical and verbal cues such as barking or meowing to further enhance this illusion. Some BDSM pet play can include BDSM elements such as power exchange, discipline, and obedience training. It is important to note that BDSM pet play should always be safe, consensual, and negotiated between all parties involved. But as such, I want to quickly go over the rules of the event. First and foremost, we're on a stoplight system. So for consent, everyone is agreeing to using the stoplight system or whatever their pre-negotiated safe words are if you come as a couple. However, yes, indeed. Can we see green? Green is good. Okay. Can people give me the emoji for green? Now, hold on. I can do this. Oh, it's not letting me. That's fine. And that would be a thumbs up for people with arms. And can anyone give me the symbol for check-in? Please stop for a second. We need to... the yellow hand means slow down check-in. And everyone give me the hand signal and the emoji for red, which means stop completely. Something's wrong. This is a problem. So basically... okay, so back to where we were. BDSM pet play can take many forms, depending on the interests and preference of the participants. Some people may enjoy the sensation of being an animal, and it may take on the physical characteristics of said animal that they're pretending to be. For example, a dog can pretend to be a dog with ears, a tail, a collar, walk around on all fours, that kind of thing. A cat can groom themselves and do various other things, meow. And we'll go over some of the differences in pet play and different pets in a second. But yeah, this can involve crawling around on all fours, making animal noises, behaving in a way that's typical for the animal they are pretending to be. Others may be more interested in the power dynamics of the owner-pet relationship and may enjoy giving or receiving commands and being trained or disciplined. Those are not mutually exclusive. Those usually are included in both. But it really depends on the couple/couples, thruples, quadruples, whatever. Because as with Primal, pet play also has packs. In BDSM pet play, the person playing the role of the pet is known as a pet. Pretty self-explanatory. While the person playing the role of the owner is known as the handler. That's normal vernacular in the industry, as it were. So, differences in different pets. Dog and cat play in BDSM are both forms of pet play, but they can include different roles and dynamics. Dog play, also known as pup play, typically involves a participant taking on the role of submissive dog who may be trained, collared, and leashed by their handler. The person playing the role of the dog might act like a real dog, barking, whining, as we've already gone over before. You can also eat from a bowl. I don't recommend using actual dog food. That's not a good idea. You, for example, Squidge and I use little pieces of jerky, Jacqueline's jerky. She really likes those. And, yeah. So, yeah, this form of play involves obedience training, discipline, and rewards for good behavior. Cat play, on the other hand, involves a participant taking on the role of a more independent and aloof animal, such as a cat. It's really interesting. I actually went to an event, IRL, and they were doing like a tasting booth, and so they had pet play. They had someone up there with a dog and a cat, like people. And the dog was like all over happy-go-lucky animal, woo woo woo, and the cat was like just on the couch, just like meow. It was really funny. Meow. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Meow.
Markiplier cat.
Markiplier. Meow. So the person playing the role of the cat may act like a real cat, such as meowing, purring, or grooming themselves. They may also be more likely to resist commands or to be trained through rewards rather than discipline. So dogs, come here, good girl, bad girl, good boy, bad boy, you know. SWAT. Cats, they don't give a shit most of the time. They're just like, eh. If you don't reward me, I'm not coming over. You know, and that's okay. And as such, I've seen a lot of switches that like to be cats because they can just go back and forth and resist. And plus, there are a lot of dominant cats. So sometimes the handler is the submissive in that role. And the cat's just like, I will pay attention to you if I feel like it. And just walk away. And as I said, the person playing the cat is more control in the scene and more likely to be the dominant one. As I said, I've seen switches because of the independence. Foxes are interesting. I had a fox play partner once that was amazing. She opened my eyes to Primal. And so because of that, I consider this to be a more advanced sort of pet play style. They're very playful. And they're a very playful combination of cats and dogs. They can be a bit feral, bitey, but also very playful and loving. The way they show their love is they gnaw on you in real life. If you watch like Save a Fox on YouTube, you see a lot of that stuff. Yeah. This can involve the use of costumes, gear, and equipment such as fox ears, tails, and paws to create the sense of being a fox. And may also include physical and verbal cues such as barking, whining, and making like fox-like noises. The person playing the role of the fox may be trained to perform various different tasks or tricks such as retrieving or hunting. As I said, I personally discovered my Primal through a fox. Fox play can start to border on Primal, so it's recommended for more advanced players if you go down that path. Pony play. This is the last of the call-outs. There are others, but pony play, you're talking about equine style play, bridles, reins, and saddles to create a sense of being a pony, and may also include physical and verbal cues like neighing and whinnying. As with the others, it will include obedience training, and discipline. So if you've seen horses actually being trained, it's sort of similar to that. A person playing the role of the pony may be led around on a leash or reins, and may be trained to perform certain tasks or tricks such as bowing or rearing or prancing, you know. The trainer or handler may use whips or crops or other BDSM toys to discipline or train the pony. Pony play may also include pony racing, jumping, and dressage. So basically, to me, it's a little bit more of a formal pet play style because horses are just, in my eyes, more majestic style creatures. So for me, I equate pony play to be more of a formal style. That's just my opinion. Does anyone else have any other examples of different types of pets that you can be? And remember, you don't have to be an animal. Go ahead, Squidge.
Bunny. Bunny. I was gonna say.
Thank you, Squidge.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Jag coming in hot. So yeah, there's bunnies, there's pigeons. You can train pigeons. I've never seen a pigeon, but yeah.
I've seen a chicken.
You've seen chicken pet play?
I've seen a chicken.
Oh, that's funny.
That sounds interesting. I'd like to see that one day.
Hi, kitty.
When I get bored of it,
Hi, kitty. You a good kitty?
bring them into chicken nuggets.
This is a good kitty. This is my kitty, if you didn't know. She's a kitty and a puppy hybrid who's being teased by this little marshmallow thing.
It's a mouse.
Oh, okay.
Got the ears.
How dare you not know that? It's
Oh,
obvious.
my bad.
It's obvious.
So obviously not a marshmallow.
It looks like a marshmallow on this side. Okay, so what do people get out of being in pet space? Being a pet in pet play can provide a varied experience for a submissive person It can be a form of escapism, a way to explore different aspects of themselves, or a way to experience different power dynamics. Some possible experiences a submissive person can get out of being a pet include, and now I'll go through a list. If you've experienced something like this, just go ahead and raise your hand. Say, yeah, I remember that, or, oh, that sounds interesting, I want that. You can raise your hand for that too. A sense of freedom from the responsibilities and expectations of everyday life. It can be a way to let go of the pressures of being human and to experience a different way of being. So that's 1. 2, a sense of submission to the owner or trainer, which can be a way to explore different power dynamics and experience being controlled or trained or cared for and loved. And also it lets you be attentive to your dominant. Hands are still up. A sense of playfulness that can be a way to let go of inhibitions and just relax into a role that is away from everyday life. Yes, cool. A sense of belonging to a pack or herd and can be a way to connect with others who share similar interests. A sense of sensuality from the experience of physical sensations such as touch to the sensation of being in a different form. So you can pretend to be an animal and you're just like, oh, this feels weird. It feels good. And a sense of being the center of attention, a way to show off or to feel special. I want to see hands on that one. Yeah. That's definitely me. I am the center of attention. Likewise, being a dominant pet play can provide the following experiences. For the handlers of us out there, and the switches, a sense of control over the pet, which can be a way to explore different power dynamics and experiences of being in charge. There's me. A sense of responsibility for the pet, which can be a way to explore different aspects of oneself and experience being in charge of another's well-being. That's basically the same thing. A sense of creativity. It allows them to create and direct the scene and to explore different scenarios and dynamics. Sense of playfulness, similar to that. You can let go of your inhibitions and explore different aspects of yourselves and your partner. So you can say, oh, that's a good little kitten. Oh, that's a good little kitten. She's such a good girl. I like being playful with my pets. It's very it's a lot more fun. And you can also get a sense of connection with that pet. It allows them to establish trust and intimacy. You can also feel respected, obeyed, and adored, unless you're with a cat, in which you can feel ignored. And no, I'm just kidding. So, I'm playing.
Ignored in a new way. Literally just axed half of them right there.
I'm playing. I'm throwing a little barb out to the
Now
kid,
you're
to the
getting a
cats.
cold shoulder.
Yep, the cats are just like, no, I'm done. I'm going this way.
That's
No,
a nice leaf.
This class, I'm gonna play with the the rest of the class.
no, cats are amazing. Cats, if you get on a cat's good side, it's very. Yes, I know, Jack. I was kidding. It's a joke. It's a play into what I was mentioning earlier about cats being more aloof than dogs. Gun. Look out! They've got a gun.
Gun.
So I actually have.
So you're saying
Go ahead.
give the cat a gun?
Yeah, knife.
So you're saying give the cat a gun? Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm
So,
gonna add a knife to my just because.
so we do have a question from the audience. Can aspects of pet play be found in normal dynamics? If so, should that be considered pet play, or should that just be communicated? Yes, you can merge things together. So like, there's things in pet play that will come across in other dynamics. For me, I use DS rituals, protocols, primal, and pet play at the same time. It all sort of merges together. So as long as you're communicating, that's fine. Also, if you've seen a good example of two people who are handlers and pets, me and Squidge, Frosty and Jag. Those are good examples.
I mean like a handler and a pet. Both of them play both roles.
You're a switch, right? You have a handler and a pet, right?
I used to have a handler, but I
Yeah.
play both roles.
Yeah, you play both roles. Yeah, Squidge as well. Squidge is a good example as well because she is a switch.
I had a puppy for a while.
Yeah,
I
You needed to be
just wanted to make sure because I wanted to see how limiting or open this type of
well,
stuff can be.
to me, pet play should never be limiting. It should be allowing for creativity and freedom. However, some people will use it for restriction, and that's okay. It'll be like, okay, you're a pet today, you cannot talk for 24 hours. That's okay.
Yeah, like I'm coming into this with like a notepad and a piece of paper like empty, so I'm just wanting to learn.
No, that's fine. I also release VODs on Patreon after the fact, so yeah. If you want to copy, there's a question over here.
I was not more of a question, more of an add-on to it, because I do have some friends who have both collared each other because they're literally both switches.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was just gonna say that's also a thing.
Yeah,
that
it's very
can
similar
happen.
with Primal in that aspect, because you can have people fighting for dominance, and it can just go back and forth. I know someone who's in this server who has a dominant who's also their submissive, and they do pet play all the time. So and they just go back and forth depending on the mood. So
Yeah, thank you very much.
yeah, so I crashed again. 2 seconds.
Pizza time!
Leg.
Pizza. Let me see the pizza.
Pizza.
Leg.
Pizza!
Leg.
Send pizza.
Leg! Leg!
Hashtag leg.
Leg!
Leg.
Leg!
Leg.
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 Leg!
Wow, that is a lot of pizza.
Leg!
You put your left leg in. Put your left leg out. Put
All right,
your
cool.
left
We're
leg in. You shake it all about.
This is a thing.
Do the
Jimmy
hokey
crashes
pokey.
just
Okay,
pizza.
okay, cool.
How dare you put
So-
pineapple in?
Here is something about neurodivergent, or as some people like to call the ism. This is from someone called. This is from a website called Torture Garden. The person said, "I am neurodivergent too, and I'm quite insular, or at other times scatterbrained. So as a pet, I enjoy the opportunity to be nonverbal and express how I feel with my body and sounds without the filter of language. I have other neurodiverse friends who relate to this aspect of pet play because for a time they can be free of the burden of words. If you have ADD, the pet headspace can be quite freeing because you can focus on your trainer and the physicality might be reassuring to you." And later in that article, they said, "I propose that pet play can help a pet build personal attributes that they desire in themselves, such as confidence." How would that work? Well, I think that's an unconditional positive regard goes a long way towards helping someone build confidence. Imagine you are a pet and you are being given opportunities to work on what's being asked of you by being given basic commands. Your successful execution of these tricks, and receive praise and petting. That feels good to you, and you derive a sense of warmth and satisfaction. You feel accepted and cared for. You will also have broken through the what I think of as embarrassment barrier that often prevents people from trying new things that they think might be fun because they feel self-conscious. If you get used to being on all fours, acting out your puppy persona, I'm pretty sure you will have gained confidence from all of the positive reinforcements and fun experiences in that space. So that's a good quote because that's basically just encapsulating the pet mindset and what you're trying to be inclusive and rewarding to somebody. I made jokes about the cat thing, but the same thing applies to cats. You know, you want to make sure that they're being loved and praised as well. They're just a little bit more independent than dogs are usually. This is still the same quote, a capable, engaged, and empathetic top who approaches pet play to build up their pet will work with their pet to create scenes that weave in choice, incorporate small doable steps, are based on a shared map or shared intentions, and build in celebration and aftercare. You want to make sure to praise the pet and make sure they know they did a good job. Okay, so let's see. Tool examples. So different things you can use. I covered a little bit earlier, but here's some stuff that you can use. There are many different tools and props that can be used in BDSM pet play to enhance the illusion of being an animal. Some of those most common tools might include collars. These can be used to symbolize ownership and submission and also be used to attach a leash. Yep, Squidge is playing with her collar. I put a leash to that today, and she immediately went into a nice little headspace. And she's like, "I want that more." I said, "Yes." Ironically, the first time I put a leash on her, her nose bled like an anime character. So, so yeah.
As somebody who easily gets bloody noses.
Exposed.
Speaking of leashes, those can be used to control the movement of the pet. Never yank to the point where they're actually in pain because you're dealing with the neck area. You want to make sure that you're being safe. So it's more to lead them in a direction, not yank on it, because they're not a dog. They don't have the same neck structure as an actual animal. So be very careful if you're using collars and leashes.
Especially if they have a metal collar like mine. That'll hurt.
Yeah, hers is just pure metal. So and it requires a key to open. So muzzles, these could be used to restrict the pet's ability to speak and to create a sense of being an animal. Tail plugs, whether you're into anal or not, you don't actually need to put it in your butt with a butt plug, but you can also clip it onto a belt, but you can also use plugs. Those are inserted into your booty or vagina and have a tail attached to them and or clip-on. Ears, those can be worn on the head to be given the appearance of being an animal. Costumes, some people like to wear full costumes, such as a dog or cat suit, to further enhance the illusion of being an animal. That's not necessarily furries, but it could include furries.
Okay.
It's not. There's a guy in Japan who has like a full ass border collie suit.
Yeah, he paid $20,000 for it.
I literally just saw a video about that. I literally just saw a video about that before coming on.
It's a really impressive suit. Like, he looks like a dog. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, cages, these can be used to confine the pet and create a sense of being trapped or imprisonment. I highly recommend that if you're going to use locks, to use the plastic locks. Basically, they have just a number on them and they're plastic, and once they close, they're stuck there forever. You can just clip it off. It's easy to get out of, but it creates the illusion. It's also nice for chastity, because if you're using a metal lock on a chastity belt, it could get stuck and you can get in trouble. Like, people need to get out of that thing. So it's the same thing with locks to cages. You can find plastic locks. I can probably post a link to them in event chat later, so you can kind of get an idea. But I have a friend who's on VR chat. She showed me those plastic locks, and I was like, those are perfect for pet play as well. Whips, paddles, or other BDSM toys. These can be used for discipline or training and to create a sense of power dynamics within the scene. You're talking about crops, you're talking about like canes and all that stuff. You can merge corporal punishment into this thing depending on your negotiation. So never go into pet play without talking about it first, ever. Always make sure that you set the scene first. You don't want to say, oh, I'm just going to pull this out on somebody. Sexual pet play. Sex can be an element of BDSM pet play, but it is not always included. You don't have to be a sexual pet or a sexual handler. And it's important to note that it should always be consensual and safe. When sex is included in pet play, it may involve role-playing scenarios in which the pet is used for sexual purposes by their owner or trainer. Some examples include oral sex, intercourse, masturbation, discipline or training-related stimulation, like the owner may use BDSM toys or their hands to discipline or train their pet by providing stimulation to the pet's genitals or what have you. Public play, again, if you're doing public play, make sure you're doing it in an environment where people are consenting to see it. The pet may be made to perform sexual acts in public or in front of an audience. Say like you're going to a dungeon, you can say, I would like to get on stage and have my way with my pet. They could say, go for it. Cool. Or just in a room. So, since we are talking about consent and safety, I would like to cover that real quick. Does anyone have any questions up until this point? What do corn crops have to do with pet play? Nice, Floofer. Crops are riding crops for ponies, if that wasn't obvious. So those are the ones with the little leather fronts on the cane, and you go slap, slap.
Yeah, you can only. Meow. What are you gonna ask? Meow, 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 meow.
Okay, that's very insightful, Jag, and I'm happy that we're in agreement there. Okay, so consent and safety in pet play. Safety and consent is essential to BDSM and pet play, as with any activity. The following are some key communication or considerations for safety and consent in pet play. 1, communication. You need to make sure you have clear communication before, during, and after a scene. All parties should discuss and negotiate their boundaries, limits, and expectations before the scene begins. Consent. All parties should give enthusiastic and informed consent to participate in the scene. This means that everyone should understand what is involved and should be willing to participate without coercion or pressure. If someone's pressuring you into doing something in terms of BDSM, do not say yes and stay away from that person. And report them to higher powers. Safe word. A safe word should be used should be established, and all parties should understand its use. A safe word is a word or phrase that can be used to stop the scene if necessary. We went over those at the beginning. Check-ins. All parties should check in with each other frequently during scenes to ensure that everyone is still comfortable with what's happening and that a scene is not going too far, because there are times when pets can go nonverbal and not be able to say no. That actually happened to me. It wasn't a pet play scene, but I was doing a impact play scene at a dungeon, and said person could not communicate that they were done. So after that, it was fine. Like I did constant check-ins to make sure that they're okay, but we discovered that after talking with a friend, they use car keys. So you put the car keys in the submissive's hands, and if the car keys drop, the scene's over. That's red. So that's a nice little tip. So if you have someone that goes nonverbal, you can do it that way. Aftercare. After the scene, all parties should take time to check in with each other and to ensure that everyone's okay. This can involve talking about the scene, cuddling, or other forms of physical or emotional support. We'll go over aftercare in the BDSM 101 class, but basically it is just cuddle your sub until they feel better. That's basically the overall. There is more to it, but that's the basics. Cuddle them until they come back to reality. Oh, there goes reality. Okay, anyway. Physical safety. Pet play can include physical activity. It's important to have knowledge and practice of safe techniques. Using VR is a good example. It's a good way to experience pet play because you're not going to have the physical issues that you would in IRL. So practice here. And practice your safe techniques, especially with equipment and gear. It's also important to have an understanding of the risks and safety precautions associated with the tools being used. Emotional safety. Pet play can be emotionally intense, and it's important to understanding of the emotional risks and safety precautions associated with the activity. Also, it's important to have an understanding of the potential emotional impact of the scene and have aftercare that includes emotional support. And it's also important to remember that safety and consent are ongoing and fluid processes, and all parties should be willing to adjust the scene or stop it if necessary to ensure that everyone is safe and comfortable. Now, good to know, etc., etc. Holding stuff is good for mutes as well. Thank you, Chihaya. That's actually very, very good. Question.
I asked a question before that you went over, I think.
So with trying to find and explore different pet scenarios in VR chat, where would you point people who have little to no experience with pet play and other kink play? This can include personal suggestions from you or your audience. Well, I mean, this server, for one. 2 various pet play groups you can find across the atmosphere. I can't vouch for them because I don't know them, but they are out there. I would recommend just heavily researching and asking questions of everybody who has any knowledge of it. Does anyone else have any suggestions in the audience? Yes?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. There's literally various other kink servers with like very heavy like verifications, as well as like actually reading through their rules and you consenting to them, like pretty much any other Discord server. Yeah. They also have like various other roles in there, like if you want to take a break from like, you know, being like, not like you still want to interact with the server, but you want to take a break from like certain stuff that happens within the server, then you can select the role and people know, yeah, you're on a break from stuff and whatnot to clear your head, but you still want to interact with other people and such in the server. That's a thing also. Yeah.
And it's similar to here. We have different aspects and lets you opt in or out of different announcements and stuff. I'm slowly phasing out of using the everyone ping because we now have server stuff. Go ahead, Violet. You have your hand raised.
I had write a question in the chat.
Oh, I would be interested on learning how to get in a pet headspace. Do you have any tips or video to inform on? It's a bit hard to find information on it. Yeah, I have a few videos that I'll put in event chat afterwards and put in ongoing Kink resources. In fact, they might already actually be in there. Let's see. Evine Lupine has some pet play stuff. She's pretty good. There's consent in there. I have...
Can you also pin those in the chat too? Or have like another section for those specifically?
For pet play?
Resources and stuff. Just resources in general for it.
We do have resources in here. It's a channel called Kink Resources, but I think I'm going to turn it into a forum, so that way we can segment them into different aspects. Because this channel was made before forums came in, so I think I'm going to redo that. But yeah, that's a good idea. So I'll redo Kink Resources into a forum so we can do pet play here, and you can look at different resources that people have available. Because first and foremost, this server is about education. There's a lot of people in VR chat and online that treat this as a game, and what they don't realize is that there's actual human beings on the other side, and you see a lot of people coming in, get burnt by one person or two people that don't know what the fuck they're doing, and then bail, and they're done, and they're disillusioned. So my goal is to set up a caring environment that allows people to explore and be able to do this in a way that's not going to hurt people. You know what I mean? They can do it supervised and sort of learn and then do it on their own as well. So that way people understand that their consent matters and they have the right to say no at any time. Consent is sexy.
Yes.
Let's see. Even when you're doing CNC and consensual non-consent, you always want to make sure that it's informed consent and people still have the ability to say no. So safe words are always on the table. Stay away from people that don't want to use safe words, including bottoms, because those people need to learn their limits and they haven't yet. Okay, so there's this question. So I just have a conclusion left, and then we can open it up for more questions. With proper safety, pet play can be a very awesome way to express your power dynamics, and you should feel free to explore various aspects between yourself. Remember that we use the stoplight system: red, yellow, green. Yeah, that's it. That's it for the class, actually, or at least the class proper. So let me sit down real quick. my feet hurt.
This is your second class, correct?
This is my second class. Yes, the first class was a Primal class.
You did absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Well, this is my
second. Informative.
This is my second class on the server. I formerly was at Loot Crew doing my classes, and I've done. Let me give everyone. I mean, the people that have been here before, they've heard this before. I've been in this scene for 18 years. I think with COVID, I keep thinking 15, but because of COVID, I used to be a dungeon monitor at a local dungeon. I used to lead safety team, which was basically making sure that the consent was honored as well as the dungeon rules. And I used to give classes there in person. So, but very, very little. I was mainly there for helping on the back end of stuff. Ironically, I've almost died at a dungeon once. So.
What?
Holy.
Yeah.
I need to know. I need to know.
I was helping.
I also need to know.
To ask yourself.
It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't actually doing anything kinky. It was helping them set up before a dungeon started. They had this pulley that would pull up this massive bar that had this curtain, like you would at any sort of backstage thing. And while it was going up, it snapped, came down about 3 inches in front of my face, and that thing would have killed me.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, I was a little. I
I
had a drink after that. I was like, okay, I need to relax.
Are you a little bit free after this event for me to pick your brain about some BDSM and dynamic topics?
You can.
That's okay.
I'll be around for a while tonight. This is basically what our plan tonight is, just to do this and hang out on Discord and
Okay, yeah.
and VR.
Thank you very much. I've always showed mild interest in stuff like this, especially when I came of age of 18 and I'm 20 and I'm trying to explore myself sexually and emotionally with someone or with multiple people or with a group, and it's kind of daunting trying to find your in.
It is.
And I've found it, so I'm trying to take advantage of it as best as I can.
This is a very good entry level. Is pet play. It's very good entry level because, as it was stated by Torture Garden, I'll probably put up the sources to these things, so you guys have where I pulled the information from. A lot of this one specifically came from chats with OpenAI, which was kind of cool. It was able to give me more perspective on things and help me sort of word things in a different way. That's why some of it sounded a little mechanical, but it was based on actual experiences that I had and other websites, and the wording was assisted there. But I do have a list of like 4 or 5 websites and then some resources to use that are on FetLife for like pet play groups. I couldn't find a valid. It's Facebook for Kink people. I recommend
be careful on it, though.
Yeah, be careful on it. It's a double-edged sword. If you go on there,
set your messages so that only your friends can message you. Otherwise, people are going to send you dick pics.
Yep.
And ask to see your boobas.
And or PP.
I've mostly posted my art. I've only gotten people being
as a
like
trans woman, though.
Yeah.
Like Twitter.
Especially in Australia.
Yeah, it's like Twitter.
BDSM scene here in Australia.
That's perfect. I have a question. So you have a question, Jared?
Yeah, you have a question over there?
I do. Okay.
I need to
About
stretch my legs.
we're doing a dynamic here where pets interact with other pets, right?
Yeah.
But I think we didn't cover that part where how to interact with other pets. What is the dynamic? How to make sure the dynamic's safe and nobody gets hurt or everybody is happy.
That's actually a good point. That's a very good point. We are doing interactions here. It's going to be one-on-one, but also group style. So I would advise that if you want to interact with someone else's pet, if they're an obvious couple like Frost and Jag, that you go up to the handler first and ask permission, because you don't know what their protocols are. So you want to make sure, hey, can I interact with this person? And you always want to make sure that you're not touching without consent first as well. So, may I pet you, for example? I try not to even pet people on the head in VR without asking permission first. So it's the same here. And if someone's being nonverbal, then you can ask them, hey, yellow check in, like, may I pet you? Or yellow check in, may I interact with you as a pet? So normally you want to have negotiations, but again, this is more free form. So just make sure that you're communicating with each other and or the handler. So for example, obvious pairings, Frosty, Jag, Squidge, myself. I'm not sure who else is here. That it might be a couple. But can I get a show of hands on people that are actually think that they're handlers? And this could be switches as well. Okay. And pets, hands up. Okay. And you can change your mind, but for this environment right now, can I see a show of hands of people that want to be pets? Jag. Hiya. So those are the people that are pets, and for handlers, there you go. So these are the people that will be handlers. So if you have a question about someone that they're actually working with, like if someone, like a pet comes up to somebody, like for example, Minnie comes up to me and wants me to watch over them for the night, that means you can come up to me if you want to interact with Minnie. But Minnie's her own person, but that's sort of like the idea. You know what I mean? That would be up to Minnie, but and to your own negotiation. But that's a good way to say, okay, Minnie, may I interact with Minnie? And I'll say, go ask Minnie. She's, they're their own person. Sorry, I'm working on it.
It's okay. You get a pass.
I got a camera on me, so I'm trying to be good. I always try to be good anyway, but you get what I'm saying. Like, so yeah, does that... can someone write in event chat that it's not too late to join in VR? Oh, wait, this person's already listening. Hi, Toxic. Yeah, you can join. There's no cutoff time tonight.
It's a lot more laid back than Primal.
Yeah, Primal is edge play, so that I have to put a cutoff time on. But yeah, if you feel like it's never too late, it's never too soon. If you feel like you're in danger, respawn and you can come to me, and I can handle the situation. If people are disobeying consent, then we're going to have problems. That being said. Yeah, this is a nice little pet area. You have your tools and stuff. You have an agility course over there. If you want to get into smaller avatars, you can run the courses and, just be free to be wild and be whatever you want to be. Feel free to enjoy your pet headspaces. You don't have to have a handler here. You can just run wild. Or if there's if there's someone that you saw with their hand up that you want to work with that's not paired up or is available, you can go up to say, hey, are you available to talk about this or what have you, or to work with me?
Yeah.
Personally, I think I'm capped out tonight, but we can still talk. Any other questions? Yes.
Oh, so you said you recently started classes. How far do you think this server will grow to kind of incorporate more BDSM information? Because
there's no stopping the server once it's going. No, I'm just kidding. I'm taking surveys on what kind of classes people want to hear about, and I'm more than happy to provide those classes without really a stopping point, really. I'm not making any money from it. I'm just, for my time, I'm putting my VODs up on Patreon for people that want to subscribe or support. That's it. I'm not doing it for money. That's just to cover expenses.
Yeah, okay, understandable.
Shihaya?
Cool.
Did you write to me? Private? Or is it in the Pet Play class chat?
It's
up. Should do a red flag class at some point. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. I have a list of questions in the Kink resource channel that you should ask your prospective handlers / dominants. It's a long list, and it's not something you should just send them and say, hey, or answer every single one, but pick and choose ones that you think are valid, because those can help bring up the red flags. But yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. Nice. This is really
but yeah, these classes, I have no plans to make these classes paid. These are free.
There you go.
I'll offer VIP classes for people that go on specific tiers and stuff, but those are going to be early access to these. So you guys will still hear these. They'll just be later than the VIPs.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to have you guys miss out on content just because someone paid for it. Yes, Frosty. Oh, Jag.
About getting out of bad headspace. Getting in is kind of, it goes easy, but getting out is very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Any tips on that?
It's very good to cuddle and soothe the person that's in the bad headspace, and that can go both ways. You're talking about dominants and submissives who can get into negative headspaces. I've had to nope out of scenes.
Pat, not bad. Pat, like meow meow meow.
Oh, how to get out of pet headspaces. Well, it's the same thing, I think, with coming out of any sort of dynamic. You want to make sure that you're calm, collected, in a quiet environment where you can just relax and sort of work your way through it. Your dominant can help you. and soothe you, and could also talk to you about normal human things that can get you out of that pet space. It's the same thing with littles and DDLG, is that a way to get them out of that headspace is to talk about everyday adult stuff. It's like, hey, you know, like...
Let's bring up taxes.
Taxes. Death and taxes. But yeah, it's just getting people into that, out of that
Magic the
headspace.
Gathering?
Yes. That's the Unhinged expansion, isn't it?
I can't remember.
I think it is.
I've
Go
been
ahead,
playing
Digby.
for a while.
I'm very experienced when it comes to littles and CGL, but what's DDLG?
Daddy Dom, little girl, little boy. It's different than what'd you say it was? Oh, caregivers and stuff.
CGL.
Caregiver little.
It's very similar.
Because I was a daycare runner on a Discord server.
It's extremely similar. It's just a different term for it. I mean, there could be some people that say there are differences, and that's fine. But to me, I usually equate them both as the same rules of engagement, the same everything.
Okay. I was just curious.
Taxes, indeed. Hashtag Kink Resources, thank you.
Taxes.
Is mayonnaise a pet play animal? Yes, Patrick. Also, hashtag leg.
Object play.
Hashtag leg.
That was our first meme. Thank you, Minnie. So does anyone have any questions before we go into pet space? I'm not seeing hands. Okay, cool.